We live in a time when everything seems out of control. Emotions, opinions, desires, fears, they all fight for space within us. But more than 2,000 years ago, a philosophy was born to respond to exactly that. Stoicism is not a religion. It is not a set of commandments. It is, above all, a way of life, a path to achieving inner peace and freedom from circumstances. It all began in Athens around 300 BC with Zeno of Citium. After losing his fortune in a shipwreck, Zeno wandered around the city until he found, in a bookstore, the writings of Socrates. Those words changed his destiny. He began teaching in a painted colonnade called Stoa Poikile, from which the name Stoicism comes. His teachings spoke of reason, virtue, and nature, the three pillars that underpin all Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches that happiness does not depend on what happens to us, but on how we react to what happens to us. For Stoics, there is an essential division: things that depend on us and things that do not depend on us. We can control our thoughts, desires, and actions, but we cannot control the opinions of others, the weather, the past, or chance. Epictetus, a freed slave who became one of the greatest masters of Stoicism, said, "Greater than, there are things that depend on us and things that do not depend on us." If you learn to distinguish one from the other, no one can enslave your mind. This is the essence of Stoic freedom. Do not react impulsively, but choose, always, serenity in the face of chaos. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good, and that to live according to reason, the logos, is to live in harmony with nature and the universe. The logos was seen as the rational flame that permeates everything. In each of us there is a spark of this divine fire. Seneca, the Roman philosopher and advisor to Emperor Nero, wrote, "Greater than, nothing is more unfortunate than those who have never faced adversity. Greater than, for they have not had the chance to prove themselves." The Stoic, therefore, does not flee from pain. He transforms it into strength. He sees obstacles not as barriers, but as paths. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Greater than, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But Stoicism is not just theory. It is practice, daily, constant, disciplined. Stoics began and ended their day with reflection. They asked themselves, "Did I use my time well? Was I dominated by my passions or guided by reason?" They practiced memento mori, the remembrance of death, not as pessimism, but as a way of valuing life. "Act as if you were to live 10,000 years, said Marcus Aurelius, "but death is before you. While you live, while you can, become good." Stoicism invites us to look inward, to understand that the external world is unstable, but that inner strength can be unshakable. Centuries passed, empires fell, but Stoicism survived. Today, its principles inspire leaders, athletes, writers, and ordinary people. From former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt to psychologist Viktor Frankl, Stoic philosophy has left a deep mark on modern psychology, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which also seeks to reprogram thoughts and emotions. Stoicism is, therefore, a manual for difficult times, a philosophy for the noise of the modern world, an art of living with purpose, resilience, and peace. When everything around you seems to be falling apart, when opinions are many and certainties few, remember what Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Greater than, the soul of man is invincible if it keeps its reason." Stoicism does not promise to eliminate suffering, but it teaches us to face it with courage, to be steadfast even when the world is not, to live and die with dignity. To be Stoic is to carry within oneself a flame that nothing can extinguish. Not fear, not pain, not time, This is the art of living according to reason. This is the essence of Stoicism.